Hi there, welcome to Vernon's Antique Car Museum. We are located on Route 210 in Swift Current, Newfoundland. We have a collection of antique vehicles ranging from 1908 to 1970.
What do you have behind you?
It is a 1940 Packard Darren. A very limited production car, 42 produced, and today there's approximately 13 known to exist. Try to imagine in 1940, this particular vehicle costing $4,600. I've been collecting for about 28 years. However, the museum has only been open to the public approximately 12 years.
How long did it take you to collect these cars?
28 years.
How did you decide to become a museum?
Well, actually, it was never intended to be open to the public. Initially, when the first portion of the 24,000 square feet building was constructed, it was private. And I opened it up one weekend for a fundraiser for the community, and it was such a resounding success that the response was, look, you can't keep this secret to yourself. So I thought about it and thought we would open it up and charge a modest fee, and if people can't afford to come in, well, they come in anyway. And then we help out the high schools and the playgrounds and the fire halls. So you're invited to spend some time here and take a look at all the remaining vehicles. The range is 1908 to 1970. This particular car here is the 1957 Eldorado Brome. Okay. Limited production again, 400 were built. It's a 364 cubic inch engine with twin 4-barrel carburetors and every conceivable option that was offered during the time of manufacture. Try to imagine in 1957, for example, this car being more expensive than a Rolls Royce. And a Rolls Royce in 1957 was $11,000, and this particular Cadillac was $13,000. So far advanced, if the rear door was even ajar, the car won't go in drive. Stainless steel roof. Okay? And by the way, this was a time when drinking and driving was sociably acceptable. You want to come here and have a look at the glove box compartment here. 6 magnetized shot glasses, a pack of cigarettes, built-in pack of tissues, a lady's makeup kit there with the Cadillac insignia, color coordinated, as well as a bottle of French perfume. The carpet is Muton, pure lamb's wool.
So who could afford a car like this?
Only the very elite, obviously. Just look at this option here. Ladies' makeup kit with the lipstick holder, the coin holder, the powder puff, and the comb. And color coordinated with the car with the Cadillac insignia. In addition to that, how about a bottle of French perfume? Lavin, right from Paris. 60 years old. But it has the suicide doors as well, as they would call it. Look, this door is so heavy, it has 3 hinges. By the way, this was the time when everybody had their own ashtray, their own cigarette lighter, power door locks, and how about heaters underneath the seat? The car in 1957 was $13,000.
And how much gas?
Gas, as they say, if you could afford to buy the car, is probably not a factor, but around 10 miles to the gallon at that time. trunk. I mean, when was the last time you looked in the trunk of a car and you saw the spare tire covered with the same material as the remaining part of the trunk? And by the way, the trunk is also powered. Powered up all the way, powered down all the way. I will give you an illustration here. I mean, try to imagine this in 1957. Okay. Of course, this was for only the very elite.
Why did it discontinue? It was too expensive to make.
Absolutely. Built for 2 years. 400 of them in 1957 and 304 in 1958.
It means a lot to you.
Yes, it does. I've been always fascinated with the automobile from a very young boy.
What do you like about cars?
Well, the criteria for me has always been outstanding in engineering design, limited production, and predominantly convertibles. The majority of all the cars here are convertibles. Now this is an exception to the rule here with the Cadillac Brougham, because it was never built in a convertible. It came with a stainless steel roof.
Was there a reason why it was stainless?
It was just an innovation during that particular time frame. It wasn't carried through very long. Chrysler Imperial did it, and there weren't too many other manufacturers that attempted to do the stainless steel roof. Behind me we have a 1953 Buick Skylark. Again, it was the first year for the manufacture of the Skylark. Only 1,690 were ever produced. And you know, when we look at the styling of this particular vehicle, basically a chopped windshield, the lowered belt lines, the exposed wheels, you know, there was a very thin line here between sport and luxury. And of course, at $5,000, not every day somebody rolled into a dealership to buy one. But when they did, you were important enough to have your name engraved in the steering wheel. And this one here says, customized for Len Emke. And he was from Columbus, Ohio. That's who bought that car brand new. And the model you see in the center of the wheel as well is Buick's first car, which was 1903. And this is the 53, representing the Jubilee year. Now, many of us are old enough to remember when the dimmer switch was on the floor for the headlights. Okay, when you met an oncoming vehicle, you hit the button, and the lights went to low beam, and after the car passed, you hit again and up the high beam. However, the second button on the floor is extremely rare. Can you imagine in 1953? Remember now, hands-free when we talk about safety, and it probably wasn't a factor then. Hit the button and the radio will scan to the nearest channel. That was pretty high tech for 1953.
What about the safety measures?
There were absolutely no seatbelts. The oldest car I have here with seatbelts is 1956 Packard and a 1956 Monarch.
You wouldn't go to work or something like that.
Well, again, you know, the very elite. I mean, $5,000 was a substantial amount of money at that time when an average car was $1,800 to $2,000. Okay.
This is Elvis Presley.
Here we have a 1958 Fairlane with the retractable roof. Now we have to remember that this is 1958, not 2024. And what's going to happen here is nothing short of an engineering marvel. There are 13 limit switches, there's 10 solenoids, there are 8 circuit breakers, and 604 feet of wire controls that roof. And that roof will disappear in the trunk in less than a minute. That will tighten itself right down. Of course, then you have your convertible. When Ford advertised it back in 1958, they said when the roof was down, there was room for a toothbrush and a toothpick. The luggage you see here, that's actual Ford factory luggage. Continue the process, the roof comes down here, screws into here, diagonally here, the flap goes down, the deck goes down, and you have your hardtop. Amazing technology for that time frame. Then over here we have a 1933 Chrysler Imperial. It's called the Sports Phaeton. Only 36 of those cars were ever produced, and at a staggering price of $3,600 at that time, which was significant. I mean, we're right in the height of the Depression. And unique features like, you know, the additional glass between the driver and the passenger, for example. And of course, it served two purposes. One, if the convertible top was down, it served as a windscreen, and in addition to that, if you could afford to pay $3,600 for a car in 1933, you could probably afford a chauffeur as well. The other unique features, look, if you look at the lower set of lights, whatever position your steering wheel is in, your headlights will turn. See the headlights? I mean, that's a feature today that, you know, Lexus and Audi and Subaru was making a big deal. But hey, we had it 90 years ago.
They were making them very sophisticated.
Very sophisticated cars at the time.
And it was not the owner who was driving it at the time.
Generally not. You know, more often than not, you had a chauffeur.
When did they start to switch from being the owner who was driving it?
Well, in the probably late 50s and early 60s. But then again, even then, it all depended on the financial status of the individual. He carried through, you know, for many years.
Do you remember your very first car?
The very first car I bought was an old 1967 Plymouth Belvedere. It was a four-door sedan, radio delete, slant six, just a Sunday clunker. And I never dreamt it would ever materialize to this level. However, the first car that I got serious about and started collecting was the 53 Buick Skylark that we just had a look at back there. And that was in 1995. And from 1995 until now, you might say I went crazy. As they say, certifiably car crazy.
So how do you maintain them?
We have a gentleman here that takes care of the regular maintenance. I mean, every car here has been restored from the bottom up. Every nut, every bolt. Many have been invited to every major event in North America, including Pebble Beach. And that's probably the most prestigious car show in the world. Invitation only. I've been to Meadowbrook in Michigan. I've been to Amelia Island in Florida, Boca Raton, the CCCA, the Classic Car Club of America. And those cars have scored significantly high. For example, this 36 Imperial, it scored 99.75 out of 100 points. Every car here is authentic. There are no modifications. Whatever the car was born with, including colors, it's what's here in the museum.
Do they need to pass special tests?
Well, you know, we don't travel them a long distance, so generally we get the highest tests possible. But we don't have too much problems with that.
So your cars are mostly high-end cars?
Absolutely. Every car here is high-end. For example, if it's a Cadillac, it's an Eldorado. If it's a Buick, it will be the Skylark in the era, or a Limited, for example. This 1958 Buick here, in a convertible, only 836 were ever manufactured. I mean, it's a very limited number. And look, features, again, I mean, look at the elegance of the interior and the dash. And you see a device over on the corner that appears to be like a light. That's known as an electronic eye, meaning that the headlight dims automatically when you approach oncoming traffic. I mean, that's pretty high tech. The oldest car I have here with that feature is a 1953. I mean, it's only the last few years that's becoming relatively popular among the average cars. Yes. Let's have a look at a 1959 Eldorado Baritz. And as you can imagine, I'm asked frequently what my favorite car is. And out of 50 plus cars here, sometimes that's relatively difficult. However, the 59 Eldorado Baritz here, again, a limited production car, they only built 1,320. And it took me 5 years to find one. And mainly because I wanted a bucket seat car. So out of the 1,320 built, only 99 had bucket seats. It's the epitome of excess when it comes to engineering and design. I mean, every conceivable option that was built. Like, the price was $7,400, and it's best known for the flamboyant chrome, razor-sharp fins with the double bullet taillights. I mean, the epitome of excess when it came to engineering and design. And believe me, at 75 miles an hour, just getting comfortable. 390 with 3 deuces underneath the hood. Again, the trunk is powered. The vent windows are powered. You know what? The car has cruise control. Again, the electronic eye. Even the vent windows are powered. And power door locks. Look. See the clang when you shut the doors? It weighs in 2.5 tons and measures 19.5 feet in length. But it's the last Cadillac of the decade.
are there specific features that you would like to see again in today's cars?
There certainly is. And let's come down and I will show you one that would be extremely beneficial to the majority of us, especially the elderly and the disabled.
And she always recommends it. She's got that.
Here we have a 1960 Chrysler Imperial. Again, limited production, 618 were ever produced, and a very unique color. It's called Mauve Dawn. Again, every conceivable option that was offered on the car. You see the Atronic eye on the dash here. And those big vents, you want to come around, look through. Air conditioning vents. And a feature that would be very, very beneficial to a lot of people today. First of all, if you look at this front seat here, the driver's seat is higher than the passenger seat. Different design, different emblem, and powered as well. But how about a swivel seat? I mean, this would be certainly convenient to an awful lot of people today. I'll show you exactly how the seat works on this particular car. The swivel. Just one lever here. Easy access both ways. And the passenger seat the same. And powered.
Is there a reason why they don't make this today?
I have no idea, but I certainly feel that if you could do this back in 1960, it should be relatively simple today. And by the way, this 5060 Soto here, if you look closely, when was the last time you saw a car with record player? It's a 1950 DeSoto, official pace car for Indianapolis.
What about their engines? How did they evolve?
That's a Hemi engine, 341 cubic inch engine, extremely powerful. And it's also coupled with an instant gas heater. You see this cylinder here and the pump works off the gas tank. And the minute you start the car up, you have your inside heat.
And the mileage?
17,000. This 1956 here, this is 56 rather, this is a 56 DeSoto, and this one is a 1958. Only 82 of those were ever built. There are 5 known to exist today. 2 in Sweden, 2 in the United States, and 1 in Swift Current, Newfoundland. The interior again is incredible. Has a flex carpeting on the floor, as well as a record player. And how about a self-winding clock in the center of the steering wheel? It was the Ben Ross clock. They say that was the Rolex watch of the day.
Would you call these cars also family friendly?
Absolutely. I mean, there's no problem to put 6 people in the car, 3 in the front, 3 in the back with ease.
Then when did they start being discontinued?
Well, the smaller cars started to come into effect in about the mid-80s.
How do you feel about that?
Well, although they've advanced significantly in technology, but, you know, the larger cars had a far, far superior ride.
Were they being imported in Europe?
I would think so. Yes, absolutely.
Or England?
Most definitely.
What would you say that the advantage of a car like this be compared to the cars today?
Well, the ride is significantly better, and at least in my opinion. And of course, the new manufacturers today have drifted a long way from the shore when it comes to engineering and the design. I mean, back in this day, there was a lot of pride taken to the cars, and it didn't matter which manufacturer, the big three, the Chrysler, the Ford, the General Motors, they all had fantastic styling.
Oh, very good.
Here we have a 1954 Kaiser Darren. Extremely sporty, as you can tell, and it was the only year that it was manufactured. Unique features, such as how about sliding pocket doors. Watch when I go to close it down. Look, perfectly flush. It has a fiberglass body, and the front clip, all the way from one side to the other, is one piece. Only 435 of them were ever built. And it was $3,600 at the time, which was literally Cadillac territory. So they didn't sell a lot, like it was the only year. And 435 was the production.
So the cars that did not sell, where did they go?
Well, I'm sure eventually they did sell, but it just took a longer time frame. Probably went into the next production year.
At the time, people could afford to get loans from the bank to buy them?
I would assume, yes. Probably the same as it is today. A real ladies' car. The teardrop grille.
Women became more involved in driving starting the 20s?
Yeah, the 20s and the 30s started to pick up speed. I mean, the oldest cars that I have here is a 1908 Buick Limited up here on the stage, as well as a 1911 Model T. I mean, it was around the 1911, 1912 that Henry Ford introduced the assembly line, and progress continued in a very rapid pace. You want to have a quick look at the two oldest here, you're more than welcome to. Try to imagine in 1908, $1,000, an enormous amount of money. And a four-cylinder engine was almost unheard of then.
So this would be a ladies' car?
Well, I guess at the time, whoever could afford to buy it. I mean, let's try to roll back the curtain here and imagine how they must have felt to see the like of this coming over the top of the hill when they probably only had like a cow path, you know, for a road. I mean, this is like jewelry.
How about the tires?
The tires, yeah, they're tube type tires, and they are still available. The wheels are wooden, the wooden spokes.
They would last a long time?
Well, for the time frame, considering that, you gotta remember, top speed was 20 miles an hour. Here we have 1911 Model T torpedo. Now we're really getting up in the world. We get 40 miles an hour out of this one. And the starting procedure, was relatively complicated. I mean, you have coils in here, like magnetos, 4 of those. So you got to get them humming just right. You turn on this here when the battery is on. Then the next step would be to adjust your gas and your spark up here, right? Then you go out and start the engine. And you have your clutch, your brake and reverse all on the floor. So there's a lot of activity taking place at the one time between the adjustment here and the floor mechanism here. And by the way, this car has a 8-day clock, and be assured it will stop on the 8th day. And again, we roll back the curtain in time. This car was $725. That was a $25 option, which was enormous for that day.
When did they start becoming more affordable?
Around 1912, when the assembly line was introduced, the prices dramatically decreased.
This car would be driven by the owner, not a chauffeur.
Absolutely, yes. This was the family car. This would have been affordable for, even though you got to remember the wages were pretty minuscule back in 1911.
So the cars that we see here were mostly in the U.S.
That's right.
How many would be available in Canada at the time?
There were a significant number that would have been available in Canada.
Newfoundland was collaborating with the U.S. a lot.
Yes. Yes. Here in front of us, we probably have the 2 most unique trucks in existence during the time. Here we have a 1957 Cameo Chevy pickup, and a very elaborate truck. I think, as you can appreciate, if you had a truck in the 50s, it was more of a workhorse. But those 2 here would be the high-end, your Sunday afternooners. You look at both trucks have the widespread window in the back. The Chevy has a fiberglass box in the tailgate from the factory. And of course, Dodge was competing with Chevy, or vice versa at the time, basically the same as they are today. And what Dodge did, they took the fender off a station wagon car. I mean, it's a pretty elaborate, especially the back end of it. And put it on the pickup, and they called it the swept side. Only 1,050 were produced. And this particular vehicle happened to be an automatic. In all my travels, I've only seen about 4 automatics.
Who would own these trucks? Businesses?
Generally business people. This was not for your average individual.
When did trucks become a working class vehicle?
In the 40s and 50s and 60s.
And you have lots of awards. Can you?
Yes, we do have some significant awards here. As I indicated previously, I've been invited to every major event in North America. Gold Award Division 1 for the 68 Shelby. Best Primary Division at the Lincoln Nationals. Okay. Best in Show at the Lincoln Nationals. Best in Show for the 59 Eldorado Cadillac, the black one that we just looked at. Again, the Ellison Bell Founders Trophy, the most outstanding senior Lincoln. And this was in Pennsylvania. The Gregory, E.T. Gregory, Best of Show again. Senior, first place. Look, the judge's choice, people's choice. First place.
So now what's happening at the museum?
We are open to the public every day from 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. from April until November. We've seen people from all over the world. This summer alone, Mexico City, West Africa, Sweden, Switzerland, Iceland, New Zealand, Australia.
What are the biggest challenges for you?
Actually, I guess the location. I mean, we're on an island, and of course it's either by air or by ferry to access it. But this day and age, it doesn't seem to impede very much. I mean, people are traveling. The world is far broader than it was 20, 25 years ago. Right here, the only foreign car that I actually have is this 1967 amphibious car. It was built in Germany between 1961 and 1967, and the production was around 3,700 total for all years. And it's certainly a unique vehicle. You see it has two propellers on the back, and I actually did try it in the water. To say that I was petrified would probably be an understatement, because I didn't know if the thing was going to swim or sink. But it performed very well, and after I got comfortable with the car, as you can imagine, it drew a lot of attention, and I made an awful lot of kids very happy.
What was the purpose for this car?
Well, I think it was probably more of a conversation piece, not very practical. 7 miles an hour in the water and 70 miles an hour on the land. Like on the land, it's rough riding.
So what differentiated this car from the others besides the propellers?
That's pretty much it. It's basically a boat. You drive it with the steering wheel, the same as your normal car.
What would you say that a teenager's car be here?
The teenagers probably would be infatuated with the Mustangs, the Shelbys, for example. You know, well-known car, the GT 500s. This is a 69, there's a 68 here, there's a 70 Twister Special here, limited productions, signed by the legend himself, Carroll Shelby, here on the sun visor. And the glove box door on the 69, also signed by him. He only made 517 of those, and with air conditioning, less than 50. This Twister Special, 1970 Twister Special, 24 only were ever built with the 428 and the 4-speed. So every car here is pretty unique, and the production is very limited, and mostly all convertibles, as you can tell.
Hi, my name is Logan. I work here at Vernon's Antique Car Museum. This is my third summer here now. Yeah, it's a great opportunity to learn about these cars and their history. I think it's important for young people like myself to learn about these cars, bridge the gap between like the older people that experience these cars and young people to learn and get to appreciate what previous generations got to live in.
Do you have a favorite car?
This Twister Special here is one of my favorites. 24 ever made like this. It's a really cool car.
It's a lovely place to work, isn't it?
Good day. My name is Ward Butt.
Good day, my name is Helen Gould.
What's it like to work here?
Pretty clean. It's pretty good. I must say it's pretty hot outside today, and in here is more comfortable. So it's got its good points.
You're the lady of the museum.
It's a lovely place to work. There's people are nice, and people are kindly, and it's good companionship for the people who work there. They all work together well. And when the people come in, they like to hear about the cars. And I don't know much about the workings of the cars like Ward and Vernon do and Logan do. I know the little stories of how they got into the water and how many fancy pieces are on a car that shouldn't have been. It should maybe just been one or two, and they've come up with three. And that's the little pieces I know.
What's your favorite car?
Actually, I think it's a 29 Willis down there. It's the last one down in the corner. She's the only one in the building with the rumble seat in her. And it's a very nice car. That's, I think, my most favorite in the building. There's a lot of nice cars here, a lot of beautiful cars, but I think that's the one that turns my eye the most, I believe. The visitors that come in here see a lot of different stuff they never ever seen before. And it's not only the cars, but it's everything in the building. Like there's gas pumps, there's pictures of Marilyn Monroe, and Elvis speaks to you every now and then when you walk past him. And stuff like that, like it's Ronald McDonald is there, and all the little toys for the kids. I must say, the visitors, when they leave here, they're very pleased, they're very happy with the place, I must say.
What's your favorite exhibit?
My favorite is the little yellow T-Bird down there. It's a lovely car. It's a lady's car. It says hello to me every time I go past. And it keeps saying to me, I'd like to be in your driveway. And I keep saying, I'd like you in my driveway.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful car. Like I said, they're all beautiful cars.
Yes, they are. They are.
Very, very,
nice.
very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Okay. This is a 1955 T-Bird, and this is the first year they were produced.
And this is your favorite car?
And this is my favorite car.
We conclude our tour here. There are 50 very unique antique vehicles, and we are easily defined. We're located on Road 210, which is only 15 minutes, 23 kilometers from the Trans-Canada Highway in a little town called Swift Current. The doors are always opened.